Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to Let's Not Talk About the Husband.
It cracks me up every time we do that.
Sitting right here, we're going to talk about him. Or are we?
We might not. We never know.
I know we have some questions today. It's
Yeah,
kind of
we're going to do question day.
chilly day today in Los
LA.
Angeles. Yeah.
Raining all day.
It's kind of chilly today, but, our jackets
Chilly, you
are all
got
jacketed
firewood.
up.
You went out and got firewood.
Yeah, it's one of those days. It's a day for a big roaring fire in the fireplace. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bucket hat.
I love your bucket hat.
Thank you.
I love it. There's not a leopard print that you don't love and would not like to own.
It's true. On everything. Though we don't have leopard sheets. That's one thing we do not have is leopard sheets.
Do
You
they
could.
make leopard sheets?
No, but I just thought of that. We have a leopard staircase.
We have leopard blankets. You
We
have
have leopard
lots of leopard
blanket.
clothing.
Yes.
But we have no leopard sheets.
No.
I'm not sure that I'm going to go for leopard sheets.
I'm not either, but it would work. I like my sheets white.
I like them white too.
I like
because
them white and
then
simple.
they're clean, right?
Well,
You get a leopard print
yeah.
sheet and you
You
don't know
don't.
what's on it. I'm
No.
sorry, but just,
it's just a little crazy too. I don't know if you want to sleep in that much chaos. It's chaos. I need to sleep in.
Are you wearing chaos on your head
Well,
now?
but imagine if you're sleeping in this print.
Well, that print is chaotic. There's no question about it. It's lovely on your head. I like it on your body. And I like it on your shoes when I see it there. Do you have any leopard underwear?
I do.
Really? Have I
Dolce.
seen it?
Yeah.
Really?
Dolce, leopard bra, and panties.
Oh,
I have for sure.
okay. So there's a little chaos going on there. in
That's
your bra
fine.
and
I'm just
panties.
talking about sleeping. I think you always want to have an environment where it is calm and not too loud.
Absolutely, especially your bed.
And especially your bed. And I don't know why I flashed on it, but I was like, I don't think you should have leopard sheets.
Now,
And
we
that's
have-
coming from a leopard lover.
We have always had white sheets.
Always. But
we have-
I would like a leopard couch. I think a leopard couch would be cute.
I'm sure you would like a leopard couch.
I would like that.
And there's a lot of leopard stuff you like.
We have a
leopard
lot of in the
lampshades
house
and-
anyway, but a leopard couch could be chic.
Yeah.
It could be.
But why is it that we've always only had white sheets? I mean, I'm a white sheet guy. You're a white sheet girl. So everything we have, all of our bed covers, all of our
white.
sheets, all of our pillowcases are white.
Because I think it looks fresh and clean. And
Yeah,
it's
when
like a
clean.
hotel. All hotels are white.
That's right. You know when the sheets are clean. If you had leopard sheets, just imagine what could be on there. I
Well,
don't even wanna
Harry,
think
I
about
don't
it.
really want to.
Okay, let's not think about that.
But it'd be good for 20-year-olds because then you wouldn't have to wash the sheets as much and wouldn't feel so bad, that your sheets weren't
When I was in my
washed.
20s, I think I had like gray sheets or black sheets or something, definitely a colored sheet of some kind. But I grew out of that. I grew into white sheets.
We have
Yeah.
white sheets
By the
only.
way, speaking of growing into things, we've grown into our second sauce. This is the vodka sauce, Harry's famous vodka sauce, available
So
at
it's
Amazon.
my favorite now.
And you love this sauce.
I love the
you
sauce.
put this sauce on everything
And
you make.
I
right?
like it with the cream added. So you add the cream because then it becomes pink sauce.
That's right. Right at the moment, see, on the shelf, it doesn't have any cream in it. So you can see it's kind of this deep red color. But then you add a third, like that much cream to it, and it becomes becomes real vodka sauce.
So delicious.
And I suppose you could put almond milk or something else, some thick almond something or other in there. It would look the same. May not taste the same,
not
but anyway,
taste the
it's
same.
vodka sauce. It's here, finally. Hey. Okay. I know, I'm such a jerk. Anyway, so.
I wouldn't say you're a jerk.
no,
You're selling.
I'm
You're
selling.
hustling.
Okay.
I
I'm
wouldn't
a
call you
hustler.
a jerk. Sometimes I would call you a jerk, actually. Today, not.
Well,
You've been
that's-
nice
I wear
today.
the jerk moniker from time to time with pride. Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah. So we have questions today, right?
Yeah, we do. I asked people on my Instagram to send in questions, and boy, did they. And I asked them to send them also on the Let's Not Talk About It Instagram, because we have our own Let's Not Talk About It Instagram. So these are from that Instagram.
Let's not talk about it Instagram, or let's not talk about the
husband Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. We got these questions.
And we don't know what
You
they
haven't
are.
seen them. I
No.
haven't seen them. Eve has seen them, I think.
And we
Eve's-
like that. I like to be pleasantly surprised. at
Me
things
too. And Eve is our
sometimes.
amazing producer here.
Yes.
And she is going to shoot us the questions, and we're going to see if we can answer them. Yipes.
Okay, let's do it. Okay.
Such a geek.
Okay, so first question for you guys. If you could both star on a show together, current or past, what show would it be and what characters would you like to play? And this question is from Emma from Pennsylvania.
That is a great question, Emma.
Yeah, and aspirationally, there are a lot of shows that I would like to have done. I've been very fortunate to have done many of the shows that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like Mad Men and LA Law and Shameless, those shows which I always wanted to do. But there's one show that I haven't done
that you want to?
That I really want to do,
what
and that's Fargo.
Oh, yes.
Are they still doing Fargo?
They are. So would you want to do one of the characters? But no, you'd want to play a different character probably. Because they said, is there a character you'd want to play?
Well, I kind of like to play one of the bad guys. One of the guys who's really creepy and you don't know what he's going to do.
You're good at that.
Yeah. I have some experience being creepy.
You're good at that. You are. You're good at playing creepy. You are.
A little creepy going on right now on Mayfair Witches, too. Yeah. That's creepy, too.
Really creepy. Yeah.
Anyway, what about you? What do you want to do?
White Lotus.
Well, White Lotus. Okay, at the moment, White Lotus is up there with all those.
That's number one for me. I mean, I think it's number one for everybody. I mean, I just think he's such a genius. I'd like to work with him.
I love the way he does it. They do the shots on that show. They take
with the monkeys and
they take a lot of time. They're not, back in the day,
they're not rushed.
They had that 7-second thing that came out during ER where you had to switch. The camera had to somehow shift from scene to scene or shot to shot every 7 seconds to keep people's attention span engaged, because our attention spans are so small now and so tiny.
It did?
So there was this, I heard about it. It could be urban legend, but that they wanted to switch every 7 seconds or so. You wanted to get to a new camera angle to keep the people going, keep you engaged.
It worked on ER.
And keeps the camera moving all the time and all that. But on White Lotus, they take a lot of time. And you'll hear me saying once in a while, that's a lot of real estate they're using right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I love White Lotus. Here's a character I would have loved to have played, but you can't because she's the supreme, is Jessica Lange in American Horror Story. I mean, every single season.
Well,
you can't play that.
Are we talking about playing another actor's
That's what
character?
She asked in the question. Is there anybody that you'd want to
portray?
Yeah. I just love that character, her character.
It's a great character. You can't be Jessica Lange. I'm sorry. So, I would never even try to approximate another actor playing a character in something.
I would just those are the roles or the series I would love to do and work on.
Okay, so White Lotus for you, for me, Fargo, and White
American
Lotus,
Horror Story,
by the way.
and White Lotus. Yeah. And you know what? We're really into Severance right now. We don't understand it for 1 second.
So good.
I don't think anybody understands what's going on in Severance.
And I never thought I would say this, but I would love to be on Severance. And maybe because you know what? Ben Stiller and his daughter are RHOBH fans. Now, I don't know if they watched it when I was on, but they watch it together, which I think is so cute. Anytime you get to watch a show with your kids.
I did see Ben saying that he likes to sit down with his daughter and watch that show, which I go, excuse me?
Maybe you need a ex-housewife to come on and be some crazy person at Lumen Industries.
I guess so, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of love that idea right now. I also could see myself on Emily in Paris.
I haven't seen Emily in Paris.
I love Emily in Paris.
Yeah, that's one of the shows that you saw while I was off working and you cheated on me.
You would never have watched it. That's a separate show. That, again, is a show that I watch on my own because you wouldn't watch it with me. It doesn't even count.
I wasn't even in town. How could I watch it with you?
It's not even a cheating show for you because I wouldn't even put it on the table for you.
There's a whole bunch of shows that you have said to me, by the way, you wouldn't like that show anyway. So I went ahead and watched it. And then I go ahead and watch the show. I go, I love this show. I would have watched it with you. I mean, come on, that's true, right? There's a couple like that. So anyway, the show thing, you get to watch what you want to watch.
No, but I believe that couples should have shows they watch together. And then again, you have shows you watch separately, like life. You don't do everything together. You do things together, but then you do things separately. That's how it works.
Well, it does work that way. That's true.
So don't get all crazy about my shows I watch on my own time, I think it's important.
Boy, I pushed the button there, didn't I? Okay.
Well, you do always push a button. You're like, you're cheating on me. You're cheating on me. And I'm like, well, then if that's the case, I'm going to cheat on you all the time.
Well, wait a second. Well, here, if you did dive a little bit deeper in this subject, the reason I feel cheated upon is because I really, really like watching shows with you.
Oh,
I
is
do.
that true?
I really like.
It's cute.
I do.
It's cute, but I really like watching a few shows by myself because here's the thing. I don't want to wait. It's like I like to go to Broadway shows by myself. I don't want to go with anybody because I don't want to talk to anybody and I don't want to have to worry about anybody else. I'm there for the experience. And so I prefer to see a Broadway show by myself. So there's a lot of times that I prefer to watch a show by myself. I don't have to think about anybody. I don't have to worry about when we can watch it. I just get to do it on my own time. And maybe that's my only child in me. I don't know, but I own that fact.
All right. Well, I will give you that. I will let you see a Broadway show on your own.
I
but
do it
if
all the
I'm in
time.
New
You
York,
don't even have to let me.
well, but that's because I'm not there. But if you say to me, Harry, we're both in New York.
Well, I wouldn't do it when you're there. I would go with you when
exactly.
You're there.
If I'm there, we're going to go together, right? Okay. So anyway, does that answer your question about what shows we want to do? Because
what would we want to do together? There was one part of her question that was like, what show would you want to do together?
Well, probably White Lotus.
White Lotus.
Yeah, because you travel to an interesting location.
Oh, yeah, and you're there for like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, you're there for a long time. You get probably bored with the food or whatever, but it would probably be really interesting to shoot White Lotus together. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Let's put that out of the universe. Okay. White Lotus in the Maldives.
Yeah.
Calling all casting directors.
Oh, God.
Calling all White Lotus in the Maldives Islands. Okay. Well, White Lotus in the Indian Ocean.
Anywhere. I'll go anywhere.
That'd be perfect for you guys. Harry, you can sleep in the woods and Lisa can sleep at the nice hotel.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, the islands are pretty small.
And maybe I can kill you.
Okay, we can basically...
you can kill me. That would be exciting.
Kill one spouse with two, whatever it is. Today's episode of Let's Not Talk About the Husband is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.YEAH. From vacation rentals to hotels across the U.S., Booking.com has the ideal summer stay for absolutely anyone, even those who might seem impossible to please. Whether you're booking for yourself, your partner, your picky teens, or your sleep light, rise early mom, you can find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com. Okay, so we're going on a trip. There's 2 parents, 2 kids in their 20s, and a dog. Sometimes 2 dogs. We have a little puppy now. So we got to find a place that'll take not only 2 parents, not only 2 20-year-olds, but 2 dogs and 1 puppy. So when we're looking for a place on Booking.com, we need a place that has a big kitchen and at least 3 bedrooms because we have 2 parents and 2 kids in their 20s. Both need their separate rooms. So we need 3 bedrooms, a big kitchen, and they got to be able to take dogs, at least 2 dogs because we got 1 big dog and 1 puppy. So 2 parents, 2 kids and a dog and a big kitchen. That's what we always go for at Booking.com. So we go to Booking.com to find exactly what we need. If our family can find their perfect stay on Booking.com, anyone can. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com. Booking.YEAH. Book today on the site or in the app. So let's go on to the next question.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, switching gears a little bit. This question is from Kunmi from Lagos, Nigeria. As parents, how do you and Harry support your daughters in navigating the pressures of growing up in the public eye and supporting their mental health?
Well, that's also a good question. How do we support our kids' mental health while raising them in Hollywood, which is a little bit of a fishbowl here in Hollywood, and we have been pretty well known ever since the kids were born, and so they have had to deal with.
Well, we've lived here the entire time. They grew up here. So
when we go out, if we go out to breakfast on a Saturday morning, oftentimes there are paparazzi there, and they've seen that before. And now they're very famous, and they're having to deal with the same kinds of things that they saw us dealing with when they were growing up. I think they've come out really, really well. I think how we raised them in that fishbowl, how we dealt with that, the schools that we sent them to, the kind of advice we gave them, the kind of discipline that we showed when they were growing up, somehow, for some reason, has ended up supplying the world with two amazing human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know the answer to how we did it because you do it in the moment and you deal with what is right in front of you, and that changes constantly with them.
Exactly. I think the one thing that we did, and we made an effort to do it, was to be there.
Yeah.
So we didn't leave town for any extended periods of time when we were raising the kids. I made it a rule that I wasn't going to take any long-term commitments on location. I was offered things in Toronto that would have been months and months and months at a time, or in other countries. And I turned all those things down. None of them were amazing to begin with, but still they were work. And I turned them down so that I could put the kids to bed every night. And I think being at home in this fishbowl of Hollywood, being there every day, taking them to school every morning, picking them up from school, making lunches for them, making dinners for them, doing their homework with them, all that stuff really, really helps to keep them grounded. Yeah,
there was consistency, whether it's in Hollywood or somewhere else. I think that's really key for kids. And we also stayed together. I think there's something really valuable with that.
Unquestionably.
We stayed together.
How many of our kids' friends,
all of them,
still have married parents?
No, they're all divorced.
They're all divorced.
All of them.
Yeah.
Except for Jim and Robin.
Yeah, our next
neighbors down the street.
They're together still. But I would,
everyone
I can't
else
think
is
of anybody
divorced.
else.
Everyone else is divorced.
So maybe it's our street, our little street that keeps people together.
It's so cute. We have this little street we live on. There's like 8 houses, seven houses.
7 houses.
And the Bodkos are still together, and we grew up with the kids grew up with their girls. That's interesting because every single person that they went to school with,
they're all divorced.
That I worked with, that you, except for Amanda and Corbin, are still married, and they came over the other night for dinner. Amanda and Corbin.
Yeah, and they had 4 kids, 4 boys. It's very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare. But I think that the way we handled it by being there and always being there for them, and also we had traditions that we laid out. So our Christmas, our Easter traditions. We had an Easter party every year when they were growing up. We had an Easter egg hunt, a big one with hundreds of people,
cute.
Coming to the house we would put out 1,000 eggs.
I know. And 50 kids would run across that yellow ribbon.
We always put a yellow ribbon out, and the kids with their little baskets waiting to go. They couldn't wait to go out, and I would spend all morning hiding 1,000 eggs.
I know, and I would spend all days before filling
the eggs up.
1,000 eggs.
We always had a golden egg that had like
$20 in it.
$20 those gold $1 coins, which aren't really gold, but they look gold. But you had 20 of those inside of an egg, and that was the golden egg.
It.
And the parents always went around. They always found the golden egg for their kids. They would say, "Let's go and see if we can find the golden egg."
That was cute.
Yeah,
we did that for years.
We did it every year until the kids were in the mid-teens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had that, and we had Christmas every year. We always had the same kind of Christmas every year, and for their birthdays, we always had a celebration for their birthdays. We always had crepe paper and balloons and all kinds of
parties.
Yeah. So I think it was important to have those traditions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty normal upbringing that they had, even though it might look abnormal. Still pretty normal.
Yeah, it was actually, when I think about it, it was totally normal.
It was totally normal. It just might look like it's abnormal because it is in Hollywood with all the pressures and stuff. But I feel like the kids, because of the phone and social media now, they all have the pressure.
Well, no.
Whether you live in Hollywood or, Milwaukee.
That's very, very true. That phone thing has changed everything. Uber has changed everything. It's a totally different world than it was when we grew up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow we turned out sort of okay, and they turned out great.
They turned out great. Yeah.
So does that answer your question? I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is from Bree from Melbourne, Australia.
Ooh.
Bree asks, as one of the very few remaining couples from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, what are your opinions on people saying that the show ruined their marriage? Do you think that the show is to blame for it, or is it the fact that they change who they are and try to win over the audience?
That's such an interesting question.
That's a good question, because we are... Now, of all of the real Beverly Hills Real Housewives that you know about in the universe, are any of them, aside from us, still together?
No. Well, Eileen and Vince are.
Eileen and Vince.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one.
They were. She's
That's
a
right.
housewife. She's considered a housewife. I think that's it. That's it. That's it.
So
I do not think the show ends people's marriages. I don't think it's actually, it's not the greatest thing for anybody and their mental health. So of course it can affect a relationship, but I think that there's so many other aspects to a relationship that get affected by life. I can't ever say that I think it's the show that breaks up marriages. I'm not going to go down that road, actually, because I don't believe it. I think the show is challenging to do. Absolutely. What do you think?
How about what breaks up marriages is people not working on their relationship? Life has lots of ups and downs, throws lots at you, you know, and when you're married, you get twice as much stuff thrown at you. And if you don't work on it, we had therapy early on in our relationship. I was coming out of a very tough romantic
marriage
situation. You had been with somebody for a long time.
I think it's always so funny when you tiptoe around it. I'm like, you were married.
I was married. It was a bad scene.
You were married.
When I met you, it was a bad scene. I was emotionally bankrupt, and it was fucked up.
You were so fucked up when I met you.
I know, but okay, and thank you.
I was too.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart forever for sticking by me during that time, which was tough. And you were amazing.
I knew you'd be a good sperm donor. I knew it.
I think you weren't alone in that.
I just was so narcissistic. I was like, I'm going to stick with him because I know he's going to make good kids.
Oh, the truth comes out.
And
okay.
It's true. It happened. Like, I'm just going to stick with it.
You were right. You were right. The kids turned out amazing.
Gorgeous.
We made some
amazing.
beautiful human beings.
I think I was wrong, but
no, but I don't think it's, really, what we have done is we have worked on ourselves. We've worked on the marriage. We understand a lot about human dynamics that I think a lot of people just don't ever pay attention to.
Well, maybe we don't know. We don't know that.
Well, I don't know for sure, but I know that we have spent a lot of time working on that and reading different people and being exposed to people's ideas about just how to live one's life in the most constructive possible way. And I think that's important. I think had we not done that, had we not spent that amount of time, number one, in therapy, number two, reading all the amazing books that we've read, like from Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra, you name it. There's all the different people. You can rattle off a few too.
Yeah.
So, and all that wisdom and insight that you get from people like that who've been down the road that we were going down before and have been able to tell us some of the pearls of wisdom that they have gathered along the way. That's amazing, I think, for us to have done that.
Oh, there's another couple that is still together.
Who's that?
Ken and Lisa.
Oh.
They're still together too.
So
there is that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think probably if you looked at it, those marriages probably wouldn't have lasted whether they were on the show or not.
Yeah.
Is probably my take on it.
The show just accelerated it, maybe.
It just might accelerate it, possibly. I also think that, I saw Kyle Richards recently say something about, what she's going through with Maurizio, and she alluded to it was more money and fame that changed their relationship and their dynamic. Not the show, but actual getting the money and the fame.
Like all of a sudden they had too much money for their marriage or too much fame for their marriage?
I didn't hear the specifics exactly of it, but I think I understood what she was talking about. They started out with nothing when they first got married.
So they did.
And then obviously they've done really, really well in 27 years, and Maurizio's business took off. And so I thought that was interesting because I think that can affect marriage. Why it hasn't affected us, I think it's because, we work on it. And you were so much there for me on the show, helping me get through it.
Well, that's true. And I do mention from time to time that I do have a behavioral psychology degree from Yale, which you sometimes go, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. That's no big deal. But it does mean something.
Yeah.
I studied human behavior for years and have continued to study it. And
Not that you're always very good at it, mind you.
Well,
but other times you are.
I mean, there are times, nobody's ever 100% good at stuff all the time.
I have to just say that because there's sometimes I'm like, hello.
Well, but I do keep a copy of the DSM-5 on my desk.
Yeah, and we've looked through that a lot.
So we can go through and look at personality disorders, many of which we do find.
You helped me through that show. I also think that we set it up from the beginning that you were not a part of that show very much. And we can't discount that because some of the people that their marriages didn't last, their partners were much more present on and in the show.
That was their mistake. I mean, I'm telling you guys, if your girls get on that show,
to point that out.
Don't show up on the show. Hide, go anywhere else but on the show.
I'm not kidding. I think that is really, once the husbands get involved, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, and I did make it one of my projects to not get involved. In that show.
We made it definitely one of the things that you were not going to be mixing it up.
So, but it was just enough. I mean, I cooked lunch for the girls one time, and now I have a vodka sauce. How about that?
That's right. That's right. And we're still married.
So
there you go.
Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is from Otavia, another one from Melbourne, Australia. You guys have a lot of Australia.
Hey, we should maybe move to Australia.
We're coming down under. We're going to be down next week. Yeah.
Yeah, so she says, hi guys, love you. My question is, how have you kept your sex life alive over the years?
Wow. Well, you're married.
Wow.
When you're married for as long as we have been together, as long as we have, there's a kind of shorthand that you develop over years. That's interesting. You want to try that question?
Well, I think, I mean, we've been together for 32 years. That's a really long time. And, through children and through everything, you kind of have to plan it and schedule it. And especially when you had kids, when the kids were little, we would go to hotels and,
Yeah, there was a fair amount of that, a fair amount of disappearing to shutters on the beach here in Southern California.
I think you just have to make time for it and you have to create space for it, like everything else, know? Really like everything else.
Yeah. And intimacy is a big part of being married for as long as, and intimacy can take a lot of different forms too. Yeah. It doesn't have to be, just, mucking around like all the time, rutting around or whatever, how you want to call it. But it can be a lot of different things. So
mucking around?
Well, I mean, rolling in the hay isn't always the only way to show intimacy.
No. And we like to go to, Two Bunch Palms or go away for the weekend.
And Two Bunch Palms is a spa that used to be
in Palm Desert
that reportedly was where Al Capone lived at the latter part of his career.
That's
if you can call it a career.
They have a room.
There's a room there called the Al Capone Suite, where apparently Al Capone used to hang out. And we've been going to Two Bunch Palms in Desert Hot Springs now for how long? 40 years?
Well, 32 for me, 40 something for
about
you.
40 for me. Yeah. Amazing little spot.
Yeah. So I think it's always fun to create things whatever works for you. Yeah. You want to do a little dress up, a little role playing, little porn. I don't know. I think it's all good.
I think didn't the kids one time find a nurse's outfit or something?
My drawer that I had. Well, remember, after I had Amelia, I took Sheila Kelly's S Factor class.
That's right. And that's pole dancing. Just S Factor, by the way, equals pole dancing.
And equals
lucky me.
Sex. But I, for a while, had a drawer in the guest room where I kept all of my S Factor outfits and my big old stripper shoes.
That's right. And the girls found it one time.
They thought it was so funny because I had a couple, a nurse, a cop, a nurse, lingerie, and who knows what was in there.
Did I ever get the beneficiary of those outfits?
You did.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah, of course you did.
Huh.
Been a while, but
outfits. Maybe it's outfits.
I think, couples have to figure out what works for them. It's not just a straight answer.
Yeah.
You got to be creative.
You got to be open with your partner though, and ask them what it is they want and how they like it. And,
there you go.
And if you can get straight with that, then yeah, you can keep going for a long time.
But then what happens when you go off to Canada and you have your mistresses and you have your gay lovers? And, like, you're so busy. How do you make time for me?
I know. It's Patricia. It's Patricia, right, in Canada?
Trixie, Patricia in Canada. And but you're so busy. Are you tired? Because you're keeping so many people and things going.
I know. So in Canada, it's girls, but here it's boys that I have.
Well, you have to ask. It depends on who's mad at you from the housewife world.
Yeah.
It's for sure a couple girls in Canada.
A couple?
But you're also gay. So you have gay lovers maybe all over the world. I don't know. I just, at some point I'm going to have to catch you in the act.
Yeah, well.
But you're so busy and then you make time for me. So thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, well, you're my favorite.
Thanks.
I can just say that, and I can say that unequivocally that you're my favorite, and I'll always come back to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, Patricia, is it Patricia? Patricia, right?
I think
in
it's
Canada?
one's Trixie and one's Patricia.
Trixie. Well, I'm sorry I let the cat out of the bag, Trixie and Patricia, but
well, luckily I don't have any STDs from you, so thank you for that.
Well, I'm very careful.
I appreciate
can
that.
I tell you?
Thank you.
God.
Keep wearing those rubbers. This is a good one. This is going to go viral for sure.
I tell you, well, but
sure.
Hey, everybody, it's not true.
But I'm to the point now that I'm just going to go with it, and I'm going to start maybe even bringing it to life more because it's so good.
Bring it to life, like finding some chick for me to hang out with. You want to watch?
I like to talk about what it would be actually like, what they're accusing you of. Like, how do you do it? Like, how does it work?
How do I schedule it? You mean?
Yeah, how do you go from being
in the dead
your
of
gay
night
lovers with your mistresses in Canada? I mean, it's a lot. You're busy.
I know. And then I walk the dog from time to time too. And that could be a problem.
And then you deal with the kids and you have to help them through their, situations and things.
Okay. So we're getting close to the bone here.
You're kind of superhuman.
That's why you like me, right?
Yeah. You're kind of like Superman.
So that's how you keep your sex life
there
going.
There you go.
That answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it did. Okay. Next question. I'm like, how do I follow that one?
It's a hard one, but good one.
Okay. You recently spoke about your wedding, saying that it was in your backyard. Can you tell us a little bit more about your wedding day? Dying to hear. And this is from Abigail from Chicago.
That's cute.
Yeah, well, the wedding party, we had a wedding planner and I helped a lot with the wedding planner. I remember that. I mean, it was like
Marianne, who I just saw recently.
Yeah.
Marianne, how did we find Marianne? Was it through Sue at Bountiful? So Sue at Bountiful created the, what would you call it? The ambiance of the wedding?
She created the look, the ambiance, and we had a big clear tent in the backyard hung with these beautiful antique chandeliers. We had tables and did we have a band? We didn't have a band.
We did. We did. We had the wedding band that you hire. There's a wedding guy
that we hired, the wedding band.
We hired the wedding band, and they play everything.
And then what else? So, yeah, we had valet parking, and we're on this little tiny street, and we had to get all these cars parked. And I remember,
how do we do that?
I don't know. I mean, because we had 150 people or something like that, and 150 cars.
Oh, and then Marvin Davis. Remember Marvin Davis came, and he had to turn around because at this point he was not super mobile, and they had a chair for him, but they couldn't get down the driveway.
They couldn't get him up the driveway because he was big. He was a big guy, and they couldn't get him, so they had to turn him around and get him back. But it was a beautiful, beautiful service.
About 170
I had
people.
wanted to have Marianne Williamson conduct the service, and I reached out to her, and she was unable to do it. But she had a friend of hers,
a woman
who was practicing somewhere in Las Vegas or Nevada, who came out and did the wedding for us, and she was amazing.
Right.
And it was all with candlelight. Everybody, we handed candles out to everybody who was sitting around
in a circle around us. So we were in the middle of a circle. Remember?
In the middle of a circle, and the whole thing was lit by candlelight.
This was all candlelit. This big candelabra thing above us.
Yeah, which I found driving by. I was driving down the street one day, and I saw this candelabra on the sidewalk. and somebody was just selling it randomly on the sidewalk. And I thought, wait a minute, that would be perfect
That's
for our
right.
wedding. And I bought that thing and put it in the back of the car, and we hoisted it up and put it up. It was beautiful.
Beautiful. All candlelit. That was really beautiful. And we had the chairs all around us.
Yeah.
So we were in the middle.
It was a lovely ceremony.
Yeah, it
and
really
I
was.
remember I quit smoking that day because I'd been smoking like a fiend up to that point.
Like 3 packs a day.
Because I
It
was
was
nervous
not-
about getting married. I
wasn't
was nervous
super
about everything.
cute.
And I said, okay, I'm done with that. And I'll never forget that the moment after we sealed the deal, we said, I do, and we kissed, and everybody closed in on us, and we said, thank you very much to everybody. And I grabbed your hand and I took you upstairs and threw you down on the bed, and we did it
Yeah.
within 5 minutes of getting married.
Yep. Yep.
And we just,
That was cute.
it was,
That was cute. We like sealed the deal.
yeah, that's another way to keep your,
Yeah.
your marriage going.
Seal the deal right away.
You seal that deal instantaneously.
That's like before you go and have your affairs and then find your gay lovers.
It was before we had a glass of
Yeah.
champagne even.
Yes.
you know?
And by
Yeah.
the way, I only had 1 glass of champagne at the reception because somebody said to me, do not drink a lot. Do not get drunk. You won't remember anything.
no.
You'll make a fool out of yourself. You want to be present. So that was the best advice I got and took.
Yeah, neither one of us drank because I had been at somebody's wedding a couple of years before.
That is not cute.
And the groom, who had been a friend of mine, had gotten so drunk at the wedding that at the end of the wedding, we were like in Maui or something. We'd gone to Hawaii for this huge wedding. And at the end of the wedding, at the end of the night, I was sitting in the hot tub with the bride.
No.
Yes, because the groom
Nope.
had been carried off to bed,
See,
completely
I
shit-faced
bet
drunk.
they're not still married.
They are not married. They were only married for a couple of years.
Well, there you go. You see,
Yeah.
you have to be present. You have to thank everyone and greet everyone. And it was the best advice.
No, absolutely. You cannot drink. Don't drink at your wedding.
No, 1 glass. You can have
Whatever you-
1 glass of champagne. That's it.
Yeah.
And then whatever you want to do that night. Remember, we left. So we had the wedding at our house. And at 3 a.m., because I had gotten ready at the Beverly Hills Hotel with all the bridesmaids.
Right,
and it was
right, right.
amazing. So we went back to the Beverly Hills Hotel, spent the night. They stayed up till 5 a.m. partying.
That's right. The
We
party
left
went
the
on. We
house.
left and left them back. But I'll never forget that, that first poke was minutes after we tied
You
the
all
knot.
know now exactly what happened after we got married. I don't think I've ever told anybody
And
that.
I didn't told anybody either. And
Now you just told
it didn't
everybody.
ruffle our clothes or anything like
Nope.
that. Did you change out of your wedding dress for the
No,
party that
I
night? Is that why we went up to the bedroom?
Didn't. No, I was in my Vera Wang, but in a very simple, beautiful
Yeah.
Vera Wang. I just pulled it up. I wasn't in like one of those big ball gowns, so it was easy.
It was easy.
You're welcome.
folks.
Thanks.
But that was a good
That was
moment, and it was an amazing wedding. Thanks for asking that question. Did we answer it?
I think so.
Mm.
So this is from Rebecca from Tacoma, Washington. She says, "Hi, Rinna. Dying to know what you think about Kyle and Mo and also Dorit and PK's split. What you know about the husbands?"
Well, again, I just think it's sad, I mean, it's sad and kind of ironic that they're both going through it at the same time.
And didn't they become good friends on the show?
They did become good
Yeah.
friends, but then, they're having a moment where while they're both going through these separations with their husbands, they're not able to come together. They're kind of fighting and having this thing on the show and whatever that is. That's where it's kind of unfortunate because they're both going through the same thing and yet they're not able to come together. So hopefully they're going to be able to do that. I think it's sad because, I see them, I still see them off, not, on the show. I haven't watched the show since I left. So I only know what's going on through, people telling me or clips that I see and such. But I see both of them and I know that, it's really challenging. And
You
it's,
saw Dorit recently.
I
didn't
just, Saturday night, I went out with Dorit and Erica. We went to the Chateau Marmont and we had a great time. I mean, I love having time with them because, when you do a show like that, you bond. You bond with certain people. You don't bond with everybody, obviously, but we all bonded and we had a great time, catching up and
Were they part of the Fox Force 5?
yes.
Explain what the Fox Force 5 was, because that's kind of an interesting thing,
That
too.
pissed off the audience so much. It's so interesting. They hated that They never like it when too many people form bonds. But I'll tell you how that came about. So Fox Force 5 came about because the season that we went to Provence, Denise and Camille were supposed to come on that trip with us, but the fires happened in Malibu.
Right.
So
right.
horribly, as we were all literally at the airport getting on the plane, they were on PCH, literally stuck in those fires.
Did their houses burn down?
Camille's did.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible, yes. So they were not able to make it on the trip. So it turned out that it was only Teddy, myself, Erica, Kyle, and Dorit. Now, when we go on these trips, the goal of these trips is, to like really mix it up. Like it's toward the end of the season and they're really there to have.
To get people fighting, you mean? By mix it up? What does that mean?
To have stuff happen. And so the five of us were all getting along. So imagine production going, oh shit, we've got a house. We were all staying in a chateau.
Right.
We have 5 characters that all like each other and are all getting along and no one's fighting. So I'm sure Bravo and the producers were like, oh, fuck, what do we do? I know they were. They were like, shit, we're going to be in
get
Provence
these girls fighting each other? Come
for
on.
5 days and these girls are all getting along. No one's fighting. So you put a little alcohol on the table and you tell everybody you got a show to make and... That is kind of.
But you all had a great time that day when you did the wine tasting.
We
did.
You? But then when we came back that night after everybody was pretty sauced, and they kind of knew that some shit needed to happen at dinner, and then it did. That's how that went.
Well, I think the Fox Force 5. You need to sort of describe who they are.
I will.
And why they are.
Okay, so it's
a thing.
It's a reference from Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
So if you watch Pulp Fiction and you know the scene with Uma Thurman and John Travolta when they're sitting in the restaurant right before they dance, they're having the milkshakes and it's brilliant. And she's telling Travolta that she did a pilot about these 5 women that were this, called Fox Force 5, and they were like this spy team, and she names off all the characters, like one's an assassin, one's this, one's that, and she's in it, and it didn't get picked up. And anyway, so after that trip, I think Erica posted something, and she called us the Fox Force 5 from Pulp Fiction.
Okay, so who was it? It was you?
Me, Teddy Mellencamp, Dorit Kemsley, Kyle Richards, Erica Jane.
Okay, so the 5 of you bonded seriously during that trip.
Yes.
And then after that, for the rest of that season and subsequent seasons, you guys had a bond. You guys were allies. And I would hear every once in a while that you were having a meeting with the other girls from the Fox Force 5 to work something out, right?
Shit.
And now of the Fox Force 5 girls.
I'm so close to all of them.
And we're the only couple that remains married of those 5, right? Okay. And Dorit.
Yes. My God, yes.
And PK and Mauricio became good friends and hung out. Now, I liked them both.
They did become
I was
very
fond of
good
Mauricio,
friends.
I was fond of PK, but it was never a thing where I wanted to hang out with either one of them. And maybe there's an age difference there or something, or some kind of difference. I'm a bit older, but yeah. It never happened. And I guess I'm happy about that because we're still together.
We are.
They're not.
And that is, and what happens, I guess the fan base just really didn't like, then you bring other characters on the show and the other characters are complaining about the Fox Force 5. And then it just kind of spiraled.
Now, did the other people who were not members of the Fox Force,
that.
Did they know about it?
Yeah, of course, but they felt left out.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they felt left out because they were left out.
Well,
right?
But they came on, say they came on the next season. So, it's very much, and I understand how they would feel because it's very much like going to a new school and all of a sudden you got this clique. And this clique, you can perceive them however you perceive them, but they're a clique. And all of a sudden, if you piss off somebody in the clique, most likely the clique is going to support the person that you're fighting with. That
So-
just happens
so
naturally.
There was a group of 5 girls on that show who actually were allies and allied together. And they
Mostly. I mean, it didn't always happen. If you look at towards the end, if you look at Provence, Kyle and Teddy went after Erica in the dinner moment.
So there's no Article 5 like the United Nations Charter or the NATO Charter has an Article 5 where if one person is attacked, all people have to respond.
No.
And that wasn't part of the deal with the Fox
That
Force
wasn't
5.
part of the deal. But innately, you know, you just kind of supported each other. But then, you know, someone would come at you. You know, I had my issues with Kyle at the end. So it didn't stay completely.
So there was no one person who held that together. There
No.
was a random
It's just a
dog
random
eat dog kind of group
thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Dog eat dog. But at the end of the day, we really do like each other, and we really did want to support one another if we could. But we also knew we were making a television show, so it didn't always happen. But we all stayed friends. Now, do I see them all the time? No, but we still have a bond. I can say that personally,
So-
that I still have a bond with all of those girls.
So all those 4 other girls you'll have a bond with until the end.
I
Probably.
think
Yeah.
so. And
Yeah.
I've been through a lot with them. You know, it's not perfect, but no friendship is perfect. But yes, I think that bond happened. And then, you know, the audience wanted to break it up. The show wanted to break it up. That's a strong, you know, you can't have 5 people bonded. The network doesn't want that. They don't want 5 girls strong.
Well, you were 5 girls having fun for a long time, which it was so good to
think
see
it
you
was
guys have fun.
Super positive. You
Yeah.
know, I think we should do a spinoff. I think the 5 of us should go and do a fucking Fox Force 5 spinoff. There, I said it. That's
Okay.
gold. That's what they need to do. Send us on a trip somewhere. Fox Force 5 goes to
Maldives.
I just pitched it. Come on, would you not watch that? Of course you would.
Yeah, Fox Force 5 goes to Maldives. And for a second, maybe Tahiti, you know.
And then throw
Seychelles.
in, you know, throw in some alcohol, throw in something. You know, here's the thing. It doesn't take much to piss a group of women off and get them to go at one another. It's one of the easiest
So
things.
you want the Fox Force 5 to go somewhere and then get into
you
it?
have to have a little conflict.
Oh.
That's what these shows are based on. So you have to have, if you're going to have the 5 of us go, you have to have a couple of us like squawk at something or get into it a little bit if you're going to go down that same kind of road.
Yeah.
But I think Peacock, Bravo, NBC, whoever's listening, that's a show that should be made
Okay.
because you have a built-in connection with 5 cool fucking women. There you go.
There it is. So do we answer that question?
I think so.
Oh.
More than I ever talk about it ever. Are you kidding? This podcast is gold in a lot of ways. I just gave tidbits that I've never given. I
Yeah.
love this question stuff. Do you?
I like the question
I
stuff.
like
You know,
it.
I mean, I think also we're going to probably get into some guests too
Oh,
at
you
some
know
point.
what? You guys should call in and leave some voicemails. I would like to know who you want on as guests with us.
Yeah, who do you want us to grill? I mean, we'll sit here and we'll grill whomever, but give us some idea
I'd
of
love
who
some
you'd like us to have on the
ideas.
show, you know?
You know, who do you want us to have on?
Yeah.
Come and sit and chat with us. You know, Dorit Kemsley has asked to come on, so maybe she should be our first guest. She's the only one that's asked. She's the only person I know that said, I want to come on your podcast. Can I please come? So we really should have Dorit the first
Well,
guest.
why not? Why not? We'll see.
So anyway,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for watching and listening to Who
You are such a geek.
I Am a Geek.
Let's not talk about the husband.
Let's not talk about the husband.